routine. We're going to install the upper A-arms onto the front assembly. And to do that, we are going to need the 2 remaining hinge pins. And we're going to need 4 of the caster spacers. And this is a caster spacer. They can be set in different locations, which you'll see in just a little bit, to adjust the caster of your Baja. And the book is going to keep it fairly negative, and so we're just going to follow the directions for the manual. We've pre-installed 2 of the E-clips, 1 on each of the hinge pins, just to save a little bit of time. And now we're going to install the A-arms onto the bulkhead assembly. It's pretty straightforward. One thing that you will need to do is when you take a look at your A-arm, you'll see that the end points up. And that is the top. You want the angle to go up as you put them on, not down. So we're going to go ahead and take the arm and slide it in front of the metal portion here, and then you'll also see a very large gap in back, which is fine. That's going to accommodate our caster spacers. So we're going to take the hinge pin, slide it through the A-arm, and go all the way through until it comes out the back. Optionally on this, you can use the Team FastEddy spacers, which are actually a little shim, I should say, and again that takes up any play, and it also keeps your C-clips from popping off. This is an optional step. Once that's installed, we're going to put our second C-clip on. You can see on the back there. And optionally, we're going to put on the shim and then a C-clip. It's kind of hard to see on the camera putting the C-clip on. We'll do the best we can. This is the fun part. C-clips are always amusing. You have fat fingers like me in the first place, it's hard to get them on. And secondly, they're just hard to get on without flinging them across the room. And then add in a camera. You're looking for all sorts of trouble and fun. You can laugh at me all you want. But eventually we'll get them on. Ah! Little puppies came off. I'm going to turn the camera off and get this on, and we'll be right back. I'll figure out someday why they go right on when there's no camera. Whenever there's a camera, it takes forever. But now we have the hinge pin secured with the C-clips, and you can see that it moves back and forth. Get a little better close-up here. It moves back and forth, and you can see that there's a gap in both the front and the back. And again, depending on, you can put 2 of your spacers up front, or you can make it even with 1 on the front and the back, or you can put both in the back, depending on what caster setting you want. We're going to set it neutral, which is 1 in front and 1 in back. Excuse me. So we're very simply just going to take the caster spacer, set it over. I like to use a small Allen wrench to stick through the hole. Like that. Then when we put it on, we can just press it down in, and on it goes. You can see the spacer right here. Now we have the same appropriate amount of room in the back. We're going to go ahead and place 1 in the back. You're going to continue on and repeat this process for the second side. And again, remember that you need to keep the end of the A-arm in the upright position with that angle going up as you put it on the second side. So I'm going to go ahead and complete this off camera, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, we have both of the upper A-arms attached now, and it's important that you make sure that they do not bind. They should move freely. Once you've completed this step, go ahead and lay out the proper parts for step number 15, and we'll get going on that. In step number 15, we're going to install the bearings into the front hubs. And along with that, we're going to get to use our bearing press that came in your toolkit when you got your Baja. We're going to need to build the tool press, yes, the bearing press. So there's a nut that was included in a separate bag inside of your toolkit, and it came with it was in the bag that has the little cross wrench in there. So we're going to install the hex nut into the portion of the bearing press. Get that installed, and then we're going to put the screw through the top of the second part. If you're using your stock bearings, go ahead and grab 2 of them. They're in the bag that we've been working with. If you're using the Team FastEddy bearings, then you're going to want to grab 4 of those. So we're going to get our Team FastEddy bearings set out here. We have 4 of the wheel bearings. And to start off, sometimes they go in real easily just with your fingers. Sometimes you need the press. So we're going to take one of the bearings and put it in the hole, and you're going to want to make sure it's straight as you press it in. And these are a little bit stiff, so they're only going to go partially in with our fingers, but that's okay. Then we're going to put one in through the back, and just make sure they're straight and press it in as far as you can with your fingers. And then we're going to use the bearing press to complete the install. So we're going to take the part that has the bolt, and we're going to stick that in through the back. And then we're going to take the twister part, put it on the front, and hold the back with, we'll be nice to you. We'll use a, I was going to use my hand drill with that, but we'll do it by the book. Let's go ahead and twist this until it gets tightened up and just touches. And it should be flat against the bearing. So just go slow until it's flat against the bearing. And it's also touching on the back side. And then very slowly, just go ahead and twist it until the bearing's completely seat. And as you can see, the front bearing, the back bearing sucked in real quick, and now the front bearing is sucking in. And then as soon as it stops, your bearings are seated. Go ahead and take the bearing press off. And that's how we use the bearing press tool. We'll inspect the bearings here once we get the tool off. This one sits, this one sits flush. And the back one, there's a little ridge in here. It's hard to see with the camera, but there's a little ridge in there, and it should sit flush on that ridge. And they should be straight and not cocked off at an angle. These went in just fine. Let's go ahead and do our second one. Now I'm going to show you some advanced tricks. Just make sure that's straight. Give it a little push, it goes in. Put our back one in. Install our press. And that's how you do it quickly. And now our Team FastEddy bearings, or your stock bearings, are properly installed. And that concludes step number 15.